question is, are you gonna, from last week, are you gonna reevaluate how you're hiring? You're not gonna fill positions when they become open?
Um, Well, we eliminated several positions in this budget that were empty, and we are going to ask our department heads when they have positions that become available this year to look closely at those positions. If there's any way we can live without them, let's don't fill them. At worst case scenario, we need to delay some hiring. You know, if we delay a vacant position a month or two, then it really helps us budgetarily. So we're going to look at all those kind of things. It's a difficult time, and next year's budget is not going to be any easier. So we want to try to get out in front of it rather than be in the position we are this year.
The majority of your costs are labor costs.
They are. They are. It's we're very labor intensive. We've got 400 and some odd employees, or did. That's down now, but you know, we've got services we've got to provide, and that our citizens expect, and we're going to continue to do everything possible to provide those services with the reduced revenues that we have.
I guess just how I know, but how glad are you the positions that you're eliminating? Like you said, if there are vacant positions.
Well, I think it's remarkable that we were able to do that, eliminate 35 positions over 2 years, and no one lose their job. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. Fortunately, as I said, our department heads looked out far enough and didn't fill positions that they thought might be eliminated. You know, it's been good to be able to do that. Now, if we have to cut some more positions next year, I don't know that we can do it without actually eliminating people. So we'll be looking closely at that, and that's why I say we're going to ask department heads to look real close at their filling of positions this year.
Chairman Culver, how deep did you have to dig into the reserve fund to get the budget to where it is today?
The reserve went down about $1 million, maybe a little more. We historically always use some of the reserve from the previous year to balance the budget. We've done that for over 20 years. The issue now is, though, in the past we've had some buffer from hiring. We had a lot of turnover in the past, and that always creates a buffer in the budget because we have to budget for 100% occupancy all the time. Now, with the economy like it is and the tightness we've put on the positions, we don't have that buffer anymore. People are not leaving. We don't have extra people that we can leave vacant. When we get an empty position, we've got to have it to pick up the garbage and to do the other things that we need to do. So it's a little more difficult, but the answer is I think about $1 million, a little over $1 million. We're still in good shape where we are, but we don't need to go any lower in our reserve than we currently are.
Chairman, you kind of hinted that the next year's budget might be even more difficult. With that said, and the reserve budget being at a level to where you apparently don't feel real comfortable with it in comparison to where it's been, what steps would we need to balance the budget?
Well, certainly we've got to, as I said, we've got to look at hiring. We've got to look at things that we are spending funds on that we might can do some other way, possibly outsource or other means to save money. We've got to look under every rock and stone to make sure that every dollar that we get we're using in the most efficient manner possible. You know, we have seen an increase over the last few months in sales tax. So, you know, it may be that our revenues are slowly going to start coming back. We hope that to be the case. But we'll start working on that from day one. We won't wait until budget time next year to try to make cuts. We'll start working on it from day one to make sure that next year's budget, though difficult, will be one that we can work with.
Where did most of the cuts in this budget come from? Because you guys are spending what, about $1 million
less than last year. Well, the biggest hunk, if you will, comes out of Road and Bridge, but you know that's because their budget's the biggest. You know, percentage-wise, I don't know exactly what the amount is.
We spend less on people or less on materials?
Both. We cut their materials. We cut their people. You know, the sheriff's budget went down. We asked everybody to take a 10% cut, and most got close to that. There are a couple, as we said, a couple of departments that you can't cut that much. Sanitation is, you've got X number of people that was required to pick up the garbage once a week, and we've got to pick the garbage up. So you can't cut that. The jail out there, it has X number of prisoners, it takes X number of bodies to maintain those prisoners, and you can't cut that. So the other agents, the other organizations, including agencies and departments, is what I'm trying to say, have to absorb that, and pretty much everybody took a right at 10% cut.
How optimistic are you about revenue coming back up? Mentioning in particular sales tax.
Yeah, sales tax again is what we use to evaluate where the economy is going. We get some revenue off of it, but the county collects 1% of sales tax. The county government only gets 30% of that. So it's not by any means our big driver like the city. You know, it's the city's huge sales tax driven. But we use it to look at where we think the economy is and where it's going, and it is looking positive. I hate to even say that, but the last 3 months has looked positive, and we hope that trend continues. There's a lot going on in our community. There'll be some things coming online that we believe will help our tax base, our tax structure. So we're optimistic. We've always had a very resilient community, and I don't think this time is any different.